Like the first thing that I brought up for yesterday was the new USAID website. Everyone is fired. 10,000 people losing their jobs overnight. And this is what kicked off the firestorm of like all of the Democrats losing their fucking minds because all of their slush monies, all of their money laundering. Oh, that's gonna end, man. On Friday, February 7th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. EST, this man waited until like the tick before midnight. That's crazy. All USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally, with the exception of designated personnel responsible for mission-critical functions, core leadership, and specialty designated programs. Essential personnel expected to continue working will be informed by agency leadership by Thursday, February 6th at 3 p.m. EST. For USAID personnel currently posted outside the United States, the agency, in coordination with missions and the Department of State, is currently preparing a plan in accordance with all applicable requirements and laws under which the agency would arrange and pay for return travel to the United States within 30 days and provide for the termination of PSC and ISC contracts that are not determined to be essential. How many scumfucks do you think are gonna wait out the 30 days and be like, Donald Trump's administration and USAID abandoned me in this foreign country. They're terrible people. They don't care about Americans or American workers. Thanks to all the corruption in the Venezuelan Opofication, it will finally be taken out. I don't know what that means. Isn't Oppo a monkey? If USAID and the Department of Education are getting the boot, can the ATF be next, please? No. No, no, no. IRS and then the ATF. All right? IRS is more important to dismantle, but then the ATF can go. You think broad brush moves like this are a bad idea? Your understanding is not everything USAID does is fraud? Nah. Nah, I like this. I like fucking scorched earth, baby. Get it the fuck out. If it does anything worthwhile, you can build that back up after you cut out all the rot, right? Plant a new fucking tree. Don't try to save the rotted one. Too much is fraud. Yeah, exactly. The agency will consider case-by-case exceptions and return travel extensions based on personal or family hardship, mobility or safety concerns, or other reasons. Also, the agency will consider case-by-case exceptions and return travel extensions. If you have, like, a mobility concern, how are you being, like, a foreign agent travel person for the United States? Like, I just, like, maybe this is ableist of me, but I feel like, I don't know, if you're, like, in a mobility scooter, or, like, if you can't walk very well, maybe you shouldn't be the person that we're sending as a liaison to another country. I don't know. Ask Javier Millet how well broad stroke removal works. What with his massive approval rating, his economy improving greatly and all? Yeah, exactly. Because they don't actually do their job. Yeah, pretty much. Going to the Sahara with a mobility scooter would be crazy. You're just reading at hotair.com how USAID helped fund the overthrow of Bangladesh's government. That wouldn't fucking surprise me if true. Not that kind of mobility, Kier. Well, I mean, I don't know what they mean by that. Equal access laws, if they have the qualifications, they have to be given a chance. Do you really believe that, though? Further guidance on how to request an exemption will be forthcoming. Thank you for your service. Now get the fuck out, is basically what this is. We have a little video here. A little fucking video here. USAID whistleblower Mark Moyer reveals how the agency sent him to DEI indoctrination camp, ordering him to take on the identity of a Scandinavian woman and do a privilege walk. Our children won't believe us when we tell them what happened. At least with regular war, when there's like death and destruction, you can like point to it and be like, this was bad. But when you're talking about like mass scale propaganda and brainwashing, it's a much crazier topic to try and, like, teach people about.
Mark Moyer, he's a USAID whistleblower, and he joins me now. So, Mark, you started at USAID.
His face looks too small for his head.
Did they send you to DEI camp?
Yes, and great to be with you, Jesse. So I didn't get into the agency till February 2018, and this is one of the big differences that we're already seeing that in 2017 Trump administration was very slow to get into the agency. So I get there in February, and we have what's called a privilege walk as part of the orientation, where you are given an identity. Now, I was a Scandinavian woman, and so when they read lines like, I get discriminated against.
Like, that sounds so fucking goofy. To have this, like, old man be like, yeah, I had to do a privilege walk as part of orientation. They assigned me to be a Scandinavian woman.
Because of government services, or people don't look how I look. So you took a step forward if it applied, and if it didn't. And so I ended up near the front, and the indigenous woman with unwanted pregnancy and the male prostitute were at the other end, and then we talked about our privileges.
I think that's really dumb that having an unwanted pregnancy gets you victim points, because you made the conscious decision to sit on that dick, right? Like, the only exception I would say is if it was obviously from, like, rape, right? Because you didn't make that decision. That was taken from you non-consensually. But, like, an unwanted pregnancy getting you victim points seems really fucking dumb as, like, a natural victim point occurrence. Because if you had an unwanted pregnancy, like, that's your own goddamn fault. It's like, even if you have condoms or birth control, that shit can fail. It's not 100% fucking percent. So it's like, when you have sex with someone, even with types of birth control, you're basically saying, I am okay with the consequences. I am someone who thinks that, like, I am like an actual pro-choice person, not this weird, like, pro-abortion shit that's in current year, where it's like, I don't think that abortion should ever be used as a form of birth control. You do preventative measures. You don't just like, well, whoops, accident happened, time to fucking... Like, I think all of these states that have restricted it to, like, 6 weeks, I think that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. And so, like, people getting victim points for, like, unwanted pregnancy is crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Indigenous woman and male prostitute. Why are random government employees trying to understand these rules? Especially male prostitute. Like, unless you were trafficked as a child, like, you're probably doing that willingly. Yeah, it's not like women where you're typically trafficked as an adult because you're smaller and weaker and you can't fight back. Like, for men to be victims, they need to be obviously disabled and clearly in the right. For women to be a victim, they need to be a victim of their own decisions. It's a modern plague. I hated those fucking posters when I was in high school that were just like, he was drunk, she was drunk, she couldn't consent. And it's like, how is a drunk man supposed to be suddenly responsible for a drunk woman's decision? They are both impaired. What the fuck do you mean? 0 weeks, emergency only, make some damn responsible decisions for once and don't get pregnant in the first place. I think 0 weeks would be a bad idea because, again, like alcohol, like pornography, you cannot make something like abortion completely illegal because it will still happen in, like, back alleyways and it will be more dangerous for everyone involved. So I think the restrictions where you can still get it done safely is much better, and that women who use it as a form of birth control and still exploit that system should be rightfully shamed for doing so. Government prohibition is mostly gay. That's fine. Let danger be one of the consequences of being irresponsible. I just don't think that would be a good idea. Safe, legal, and rare. Yeah, unironically safe, legal, and rare. Not all this weird bullshit we have in current year. Here's the best form of contraceptive. Don't have sex. It's not hard. You're never gonna stop people from doing that. It's like a literal losing battle. Back to USAID.
Countering terrorism and promoting self-reliance. So I went to a country, just to give one example, they had a feminist women's book club that had been started under the Obama administration, and then they now said this is a counter-terror program because women, feminist women, are key fighters in the battle against terrorism.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's actually right about that. Right? If you listen to what he said and then you remember what Marxists do, it actually makes a lot of sense. Hold on, let me replay that.
Countering terrorism and promoting self-reliance. So I went to a country, just to give one example, they had a feminist women's book club that had been started under the Obama administration, and then they now said this is a counter-terror program because feminist women are key fighters in the battle against terrorism.
And if you think about how everything good is called, fascist or terrorist, it's a stochastic terrorism, as it were. And you remember how feminists are used as useful idiots to drive wedges between men and women, to cause problems, to usher in different Marxist ideologies, to push critical theory. They are fighting terrorism. That is exactly what the Marxists want. So this actually makes perfect sense when you understand their subversive language. It sounds ridiculous to any normal human being, and it's laughable, and it still is. But when you understand how they talk, it actually makes sense to you. They aren't fighting terrorists, they are the terrorists. That is correct. That is correct, but they've been pumped full of propaganda that makes them believe that, yes, these are the anti-terrorism forces. I am an anti-terrorist because I am fighting against these fascist ideals. Yuri Bezmenov, stay vindicated, my dude. Absolutely. I have this guy that made a very funny post. This guy that made a very funny post here. It's another little video here. This, ready to have your mind blown. Senator John Kennedy on Elon Musk and DOGE exposing USAID. I'll tell you what Mr. Musk discovered. I find it fascinating. And I'll let the video speak for itself.
Okay, listen up.
Now, Mr. Musk started with the USAID. That handles a lot of foreign aid for America. American people are very generous. But I'll tell you what Mr. Musk discovered. I find it fascinating. He discovered that the American taxpayers are giving money to Afghanistan. He found that we are giving money to Yemen. He found that we are giving money to Syria. I didn't know that. Some of our foreign aid is going to Yemen, Afghanistan, Syria.
That's kind of crazy that, like, someone in government was just like, I didn't know where our money was going. Like, I feel like if you work in the government, you should probably know these things, right? Like, this should be like your common job knowledge. Looks like a bad AI upscale. It could be. I don't know.
He found that the USAID has 10,000 people. 10,000 people, employees. And every year they give away $40 billion. He found that the USAID gave money to support electric vehicles in Vietnam.
Look at his hands.
Taxpayer money. He found that the USAID gave money to a transgender clinic in India.
Why would they AI upscale the video? Like, I know every video that comes out of, like, our government is, in 144p, but, like, why AI upscale it? It's either an awful upscale or a terrible filter. I mean, I guess maybe they did it because they were like, oh, it'll get people to pay attention, but, like, why? It seems sped up slightly, too. Is that why he sounds funny? They chose not to tell us where our tax dollars are going? I mean, I know they choose not to tell us, but I feel like people in government should know, right? AI upscale all the things. That's his natural voice. He had some medical condition affecting his vocal cords. Oh, now I feel bad for laughing, man. So the original, it's an AI upscale because it was pulled far away from him in the original. Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. I bet you the American people didn't know that.
Well, of course not. We're not allowed to know.
That USAID gave $1.5 million to a Serbian
film
LGBTQ group called
basically the same thing.
Ideological. I probably mispronounced that. My apologies. Anyway, they got $1.5 million to, quote, advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business community.
Why are we doing that in Serbia? Leave the Serbs alone, man.
He reviewed a study and then went and checked it. The study was done by the
RFK Jr.'s the one with the vocal issues. Senator Kennedy is just Southern and old.
They found that USAID...
I know RFK Jr. had a vocal cord thing, and that's why he also sounds kind of funny, but he did not make me have a giggle fit when I heard him. He did not sound like Porky Pig.
He spent $164 million.
Why are we spending millions of dollars to turn the Serbians gay?
To support radical organizations around the world. We're not talking Cub Scout troops here. We're talking about
Cub
radical
Scouts.
organizations around the world. They gave $122 million of that to groups aligned with foreign terrorist organizations.
Oh my God. Binary mind. That did not come to my mind. If we're spending millions of dollars on organizations to bring the gay agenda to other countries where it's not socially accepted, are we practicing covert eugenics programs in other countries? Are we trying to covertly reduce other countries' populations by turning them gay? Were the Georgia Guidestones not that schizophrenic after all?
Our taxpayer money. According to this report in Mr. Musk, the USAID has given millions of dollars to, quote, organizations in Gaza controlled by Hamas. Why aren't my colleagues talking about that?
Because they're benefiting from it, so why would they talk about it? Why would they let the U.S. Americans know where their tax dollars are being misappropriated to?
Recipients of the money, they found, have, quote, called for their lands to be cleansed from the impurity of Jews.
What?
That's what we're giving foreign aid to. I kind of find what he's found out interesting. He found that we gave $2 million, USAID did, for sex changes in Guatemala.
Why are we funding sex changes in Guatemala? Why do we want to sterilize the Guatemalans? I know, you know, like the Hispanic families, like they grow like bunny rabbits, but like still, like why are we doing that? Porky Pig is popping off.
He found that we gave $20 million to produce a new Sesame Street show in Iraq.
Why?
He found that we gave $4.5 million of taxpayer money to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan.
What misinformation is happening in Kazakhstan? What even happens there? I tried to look at stuff in Kazakhstan in Google Maps. You can't even see shit. You can't even see shit there, man. He's noticed too much. Shut it down. And I'm sure, right? Like any of these programs, like a fraction of this money is actually going to like whatever they say it is. And then the rest is just being like funneled either back to the politicians setting it up or into other government officials in the countries it's going to. Like it's all just fucking corruption money, man.
He found that we gave $10 million, USAID did, of meals to an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group called the Nusra Front.
Fucking
Mr. Musk found that we gave $7.9 million of taxpayer money to a project that would teach Sri Lankan journalists to avoid binary gendered language.
Why the fuck do we care about Sri Lankan journalists? And why are we funding anything for them? Like, even if it was something I agreed with, they're still Sri Lankan journalists, not U.S. journalists. Why the fuck are we giving them money? Get us out. Who fucking cares? So again, it's probably mostly laundering as well. They're just like, here, we're gonna give you, like, how much did he say? 7.9 million? That's probably like, here's 600,000 for re-education programs to turn your Sri Lankan journalists into gay propagandists who use non-binary language. But, you know, here's some millions to keep it on the hush-hush. We want to keep your politicians happy, so you keep us happy. We're gonna give you the rest of the 7.3 million. And you're gonna send about 4 million back to us, and you can live like kings.
$1 million of taxpayer money to a project that would teach Sri Lankan journalists to avoid binary gendered language.
It's all, why aren't you gay? Be gay. There's no gay agenda. We just have to turn every country gay.
$8 million and gave it to a bunch of journalists in Sri Lanka to teach them how to avoid binary gendered language. I don't know what the hell binary gendered language is. I think I do. You think most taxpayers would support that? Why are we talking about that? The USAID gave $1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. They gave $1.5 million.
Don't turn the Jamaicans gay!
The Cuban media ecosystem.
Why are we rebuilding the Cuban media ecosystem? They already know how to do propaganda. They already are a communist country. What do you fucking mean? We don't need to get in on that, man. It's all propaganda. And you're making me gay.
They gave $1.5 million for, quote, art for inclusion of people with disabilities in Belarus.
What? Look, Belarus, you make some beautiful artwork, but there's not enough people with oxygen tanks and wheelchairs and amputated legs, so we're gonna need you to fix that. Or else we're gonna turn you gay.
Another $3.9 million for LGBT causes in Macedonia.
What?
$8.3 million for equity and inclusion education in Nepal.
Nepal.
I could go all night. And many of my colleagues are upset. They're really mad at Mr. Musk.
They should
I
be.
think we ought to give him a medal.
They should be mad, because this is all fucking absolute ridiculous misappropriation of taxpayer dollars. Stuff that shouldn't be happening. Stuff that is absolutely, hopefully, going to get completely fucking gutted. This is like the $15,000 toilet seat from the 80s US budget. Anyone with a brain knows the majority of that goes back into a black budget for the CIA or something. The only difference is now it's going into some commie-crat's bank account. Yeah, I mean, they're... Obviously, some of the money is going to pushing their propaganda and their ideology into elsewhere. But the bulk of it is going to just be fucking laundered, man. Like, there's no way it costs that much. USAID helps socialists get elected in Brazil. Doesn't surprise me. There was also the fucking sterilization programs in Peru. Like, the population control bullshit that's been going on is just absolutely fucking crazy. Absolutely crazy. Senator Kennedy loves omelets more than sex. What the hell? Said they're mad at Elon for exposing it. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are mad at Elon for exposing it, but it's like, there are also people like him who are mad that, like, this was even happening. The people that are mad at it being exposed are the people who should have some investigations put into them. You're all for removing fraud, laundering, and absurd agenda pushing, stuff that actually benefits the US should remain, though. But you don't know how much of this actually benefits the US. So once again, like, if you have a rotting tree, instead of trying to save the rotting tree, it's better to cut it down and then plant a new one. So it's better to get rid of absolutely everything and then say, here are the good things that we want to continue funding. Let's set that up now. We're not going to become destitute if all funding for certain things that might be good stops for like half a year. This is a 5-minute video about omelets?
That'd be a good idea. Here now, Senator Kennedy, Louisiana. Congratulations, Super Bowl. All eyes on New Orleans and your great state, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sean. Let me say first, Sean, that it's kind of cool having a president again. Let me try to put all this in context for you. I like omelets. I mean, I really like omelets. I could eat an omelet at every meal.
Omelets are pretty fucking good.
I like omelets better than sex.
He actually... he actually fucking said that. What the fuck? I like omelets because it's like a sandwich with a wrapping that you can eat.
Not really, but you get the point. I like omelets. You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Now, President
make the
Trump
omelet, baby.
ran for office saying, I'm going to review every single penny in the federal budget. Now, how are you going to review the spending in the federal budget without reviewing the spending? And that's what Mr. Musk is doing.
A sandwich is a sandwich with a wrapping you can... I was thinking of like when you get a sandwich and it has like a foil wrapper on it that you have to like, roll back before you can start eating it. An omelet doesn't have a foil wrapping. It just comes beautifully laid. We're making the mother of all this isn't AI. No, this is real. This is a real thing. I don't think we need to watch the full thing because he said it in the first minute, but goddamn. That's fucking goofy. That was goofy. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And then more tabs on USAID that I have. This is Catherine Long, pronouns she, her. Reporter who just doxed and forcibly resigned a member of DOGE is a literal Fed. Nice. Cool. Wall Street Journal should have all access to the White House stripped. I agree. I agree. This is actual foul behavior. Our next feature is on our Meet the Media series is Catherine Long, real estate reporter at the Seattle Times. How did you find yourself in your current role? I came to the Seattle Times straight out of Columbia Journalism School's Investigative Reporting Master's Program. Before matriculating at Columbia, I'd been working for the federal government managing USAID projects in Central Asia. Someone who previously worked for USAID doxed the people working under Elon Musk. As, DOGE has currently saved over $72 billion. Hell yeah. If you think you hate journalists, you don't. And this is LinkedIn, Catherine Long, U.S. Department of State, 7 months, Executive Office intern, Nicosia, Cyprus, planned and executed events and travel schedules for Ambassador to Cyprus, John M. Koenig, managed ambassador social media presence, collated and edited weekly policy briefs, prepared extensive reports on Cypriot negotiating stances, and attended international conferences. In addition, they had a political military affairs section intern for Ankara, Turkey, prepared extensive report on Turkish non-interdiction of sensitive military shipments to Iran, collated and edited daily policy briefs, delivered talking points at diplomatic meetings and international conferences. State Department to USAID to leftist media outlet. Communications and Outreach USAID Quality Research Project for 7 months. A researcher, the Fulbright program for 11 months. And then a researcher at Vox Media. Wow. Oh, that's interesting. I can fix her with MAGA re-education camps. Most journalists are just fed plants. Who said we weren't crazy? Always have been. I just found that interesting. That it was an ex-Fed who went into the progressive journalist pipeline who decided to dox Elon's employees. And then we have a little bit more information here. This is the reporter who oh shit, she privated her account. Oh fuck. This post had information on it. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. That sucks. That sucks that I don't have access to that tweet. I wonder if I can find it on the archives. So, the tweet that is now deleted was from Catherine Long, the lady that we just looked at the federal government history of. I linked DOGE staffer Marco Ilez to a deleted X account that advocated repealing the Civil Rights Act, backed a eugenic immigration policy, and wrote, "You could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity." He just resigned. And there was a poll that Elon Musk made about whether he should be brought back or not, and I have some tabs about JD Vance making some based fucking statements on it as well. And also, where did he say anything wrong? It's crazy that she added that as, like, a reason that he should get fired from his fucking job. And here's her article. A DOGE staffer resigns over racist posts. A key DOGE staff member who gained access to the Treasury Department's central payment system resigned Thursday after he was linked to a deleted social media account that advocated racism and eugenics. Marco Ilez, a 25-year-old who was part of the cadre of Elon Musk lieutenants deployed by the Department of Government Efficiency, to scrutinize federal spending, resigned after the Wall Street Journal asked the White House about his connection to the account. Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. The account posted in July, according to the Journal's review of archived posts. This man's just shit posting. What do you mean? This is like the fucking, what game was it? There was a game developer who, like, fucking tried dragging me on Twitter for being a racist, like, white nationalist for my fucking Papers, Please playthrough. They're like, oh, she's saying get out, brown person. It's like, yeah, because the passport is fucking brown. You actual soup IQ individual. And no purple person allowed in this stream. Did the game ever come out? I don't know. I can't remember what game it was either. I think it was like Bionicle or some shit. Good at tech support. You could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity, the account wrote on X in September. Normalize Indian hate, the account wrote the same month in reference to a post noting the prevalence of people from India in Silicon Valley. So, in response, Elon Musk made the bring back DOGE staffer who made inappropriate statements via a now deleted pseudonym. 78% said yes out of 385,247 votes. And CNN, CNN had a little clippy here, a little clippy clapoo.
Is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big Balls online, so that would be one way that we could refer to him. He is now working at Musk's behest inside.
Do you think that now that Big Balls is working under Elon Musk, if he might know who is the 4chan? Because if Big Balls and 4chan know each other and they might both be working for Elon Musk, our democracy could be in serious danger.
DOGE, and we looked into his background, and so we found, several notable things, Aaron.
She sounds so distressed. Listen to the way she said that. Holy shit.
His background, and so we found, several notable things, Aaron. One of which is that this individual has founded multiple companies, including one with another unfortunate name, Tesla.Sexy LLC, which he established in 2021. He would have been around 16 years old.
I'm sorry, what? That's like my mom having the fucking luscious sex toys for you email address at AOL. My mom always had really skanky fucking screen names and email addresses. Oh my god.
Now, this LLC controls dozens of web domains.
So, Kara, you hear this, and you have known Elon Musk for years. So now you look at these young men who are now in data and in the private information about maybe hundreds of millions of American citizens as young as 19, the big balls here that he's talking about. Most of them are in their early 20s. There's an exception to get to.
Why?
I'm curious, though, Kara, how well does even Musk know these young men, do you think?
I have no idea. I think there is no vetting whatsoever, as you can see, that's taken place. It took.
We can't let Big Balls have access to Treasury information. It's okay if China has access, but Big Balls is where we draw the line.
Haiti and the really great team Wired has done an astonishing job here. I could make a joke that's probably why he was hired for all this ridiculous nonsense and other nefarious things. But
why would you take the low-hanging fruit there? Why would you take the low-hanging fruit?
There's an expression in technology. It's a feature, not a bug.
We need every staff member of DOGE to change their online handles to the most deranged offense stuff possible and make CNN say it every time they report on it.
Absolutely, man. Holy shit. I was just hearing them have to say Big Balls over and over again is so goofy. Our mainstream media is not very serious, as it were. Traumatized USAID worker who survived the DOGE bloodbath describes horror of watching everyone get fired. And no, this is not a fucking Babylon Bee title. This is from the Daily Mail. Somehow this is not a satirical news article title. Somehow this is a real title. Hopefully Elon Musk sees this and also fires this worker. They were just like, oops, we just forgot about you. Go the fuck home. A USAID worker who managed to survive widespread cuts by DOGE has described the horror of watching their coworkers be fired. President Trump has gone scorched earth against the United States Agency for International Development this week, claiming it is corrupt. Well, that's because it is. Amidst huge amounts of layoffs at the agency, one staff member described to NPR how during a virtual staff meeting on Monday, people started leaving one by one as their access was cut off. The staffer said, "It was like from a horror film." After the administration ordered at least 8,000 staffers and contractors onto a permanent leave or furlough. "There's no bottom to this stupidity," a separate USAID staffer told the public broadcaster. Another added that government might as well shut it all down. 290 people won't be able to do anything. The Trump administration had originally planned to keep 297 staff, but that number has now risen to 611, according to a notice issued late night on Thursday. That's bad, actually. That's too many. That's too many, especially if they're claiming it's like a horror movie. We gotta get rid of more. Trump, you're being a little too soft. All right, 8,000's not enough. On Friday, one worker could be seen crying as crews used duct tape to block out the agency name on a sign outside of its headquarters, as they also tore down large lettering over the entranceway. If I had a penis, I'd be stroking it right now, man. I'd be fucking Dr. Filling up in this stream. Dr. Filling, fucking dark side filling, I meant. Whatever, they're both Phils, same guy. Same fucking guy. I certainly am. Yeah, stroke it for me so I can live vicariously through you. Not like that, though. Stroke it for the crying workers who lost their jobs, not for me. For you know what I meant. Fuck you. Trump wrote earlier on his Truth Social, USAID is driving the radical left crazy. And there's nothing they can do about it because the way in which the money has been spent, so much of it fraudulently, is totally unexplainable. The corruption is at levels rarely seen before. Close it down. The department was the first target of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, which is gutting spending at the federal government workforce. God, I love this picture. Christina Dreyer, a 2-year employee for USAID, wipes away tears after a worker removed the U.S. Agency for International Development sign on their headquarters. Get fucked, commie scum. Get fucked. Get out of our government. Only 2 years. We were doing such a good thing. We were developing other countries. We were promoting progressive ideals. God, you love to see it. I wonder what they're gonna turn the building into. Oh, they fucking duct taped over it. That's so great. I wish I was still up in DC, dude. That's so fucking great. The DOGE social media account celebrated the event, sharing images of the building with the letters removed. Unburdened by what has been, the message read. Musk has called the agency a criminal organization and criticized its spending on foreign aid. Your tax dollars should be spent on America, or the government should just tax you less. Por qué no los dos? Tax us less, and our taxes should go to actual Americans things. The remaining USAID staff includes employees who specialize in health and humanitarian assistance, the New York Times reported. When the original 300 number was floated, staff at the agency had pushed to keep more people on board, citing critical, life-saving humanitarian work. I bet there's more fucking lies in here. I bet there's more fucking lies and they're just trying to save as many of their ideological acolytes as they possibly can so that they can rebuild in secret. Don't fucking believe them, man. Senior staff submitted a list of around 600 people to the State Department leadership, calling their work essential and saying it could not be disrupted. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also approved the list of employees who are staying, but about 800 awards and contracts administered through the agency are being canceled. God, they have so many pictures of this woman crying. It's so great, dude. Congress, please step in. Our jobs are at risk. Get fucked. Get fired. Go home. Work somewhere else that's not in government where you can fuck shit up. Caroline Leavitt calls USAID projects crap, praises Elon Musk. Thanks, woman. Earlier this week, the administration gave staff overseas 30 days starting Friday to return to the U.S., with the government paying for their travel and moving costs. Workers who choose to stay longer unless they received a specific hardship waiver may have to cover their own expenses. 2 unions representing USAID employees on Thursday filed a lawsuit over the cuts against Trump, Rubio, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, said the agency, the State Department, and the Treasury Department. That's a lot of lawsuits. Robin Thurston, the legal director for Democracy Forward, one of 2 advocacy organizations that filed the lawsuit, said, "What we're seeing is an unlawful seizure of this agency by the Trump administration in a plain violation of basic constitutional principles. It is not a constitutional right to a government job. Get fucked." Also, the fact that it's Democracy Forward filing a lawsuit on behalf of a corrupt organization that was full of slushing funds. I bet this is not anything to do with democracy. Unlawful horseshit. It's like, I mean, if you want us to really deal with communists the way that our ancestors did, we could go that route. But I feel like firing them and dismantling the corrupt organization is much better than bringing out the guillotines and firing squads. Like, maybe I'm trying to be too sensible here. Elon is being ordered by Trump. The lawsuit argues only Congress can dissolve the agency and calls the Trump administration actions unconstitutional and illegal. Rubio has defended the government's actions. During a joint press conference with the president of the Dominican Republic on Thursday, he said it was the only option. I'd have preferred not to do it this way, he noted. When we tried to do it from the top down by getting cooperation from the central office and USAID, what we found instead are people trying to use the system to sneak through payments and push through payments despite the stop order. Well, again, if when you tried to do it from the top down, you found that they were trying to be sneaky little fucking rats in the first place, why would you believe them when those same sneaky fucking rats asked you to keep on more employees? The sneaky fucking rats are doing sneaky fucking rat tactics. They're sitting on the pipes in fucking power and they're sniping you from there. Take them the fuck out. Don't slander rats like that. Ammonia. We found people that were uncooperative in terms of giving us information and access. Rubio emphasized that the Trump administration will still be issuing foreign assistance. The United States will be providing foreign aid, he said, but it is going to be foreign aid that makes sense and is aligned with our national interest. Meanwhile, Trump's decision to cut the agency's funding could have consequences at home. USAID oversees projects such as food aid, disaster relief, and health programs in over 100 countries with a budget of around $40 billion. And I bet all of those fucking LGBT turn the country's gay nonsense is actually under the health programs. I would not be surprised. Much of the aid the agency buys is from American businesses. In 2020, the agency bought $2.1 billion in food aid from American farmers. Smaller companies with specialties like global healthcare could go out of business. Don't care. And also, how do we have so many food shortages when they're buying $2.1 billion from farmers to send it elsewhere? I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems kind of weird. More gay means more big pharma needs. Yeah, you get on that fucking prep. The fake food shortages. I really don't care, Margaret. I loved that fucking interview, dude. Where's my reparations? Food shortage because you're sending it all away? Pretty fucking much. Elon Musk has looked through one agency and it triggered a nuclear meltdown amongst the usual suspects in DC. The reason they want him out now is that he still has work to do. There are plenty of corrupt agencies for him to investigate and more waste, fraud, abuse, and crimes to be revealed. And all of these people complaining have been beneficiaries of that graft.
One of the wildest things we've seen this week was this news conference on the left, and they're targeting Elon Musk now because he has done so much when it comes to exposing some of the issues and buying Twitter. Here is some of the outlandish and unhinged comments that they made. Scary stuff, because I think they believe all this.
Elon Musk has got to go.
I'm here to simply say that Elon Musk, you're fired. Nobody elected Elon Musk to be president, but
we did elect Donald Trump to be president, and then Donald Trump appointed Elon Musk to be his little autism helper boy. Okay, it's like what are you ableist? You don't want a boy with autism to be able to help? That's kind of fucking bigoted of you, lady.
He has his grimy hands all over our administration.
This is a hostile takeover of our federal system.
They are working for Elon Musk and doing the bidding of an unelected, unaccountable, out of control billionaire puppet master.
So he's talking about Kamala Harris, right?
We know that's not true. We know Donald Trump is controlling everything, and yet here they go with their fear-mongering and misinformation, Carrie.
Truly. And, none of them are talking about what Elon Musk has revealed to us. They're not talking about the $260 million that has funded George Soros. They're not talking about the tens of millions of dollars that have gone.
Soros mentioned. I hope this woman doesn't end up having an unfortunate accident. That's like speaking Voldemort's name. You wake up with 2 shots to the back of your head and they're like, oh, what an unfortunate suicide.
On to places like Politico, the New York Times. They're not talking about the transgender opera that cost millions of dollars that they were trying to start up in Colombia, and the push of DEI all across the globe.
Yeah, that's also a good point, Skewky. We didn't elect any of the people Musk is firing either. And I'm glad he's doing it. This is what I voted for. This is what I wanted. Thank you.
They're not talking about the waste that Elon has been able to uncover. They just want him.
That's also a good point. I would love that, Ozzy Horror. Like, we obviously get the idea from all of the politicians who, like, are freaking out about this and saying it's terrible, fire Elon Musk, like, what are they doing? They should, this is a necessary organization, this is unconstitutional, right? Like, all of their coping and seething makes it seem like they are the ones who are benefiting from the corruption. But I would like an actual list. I would like a list to be released exposing the politicians who are the ones getting the kickbacks. Like, we can probably infer and assume based on the coping and seething, but it's better to have it, like, written down in plain sight, so when anyone tries to be like, oh, I don't know about that, we don't got any proof, you can just, like, pull it out of your computer screen and slap it in their face like a banana cream pie and then rub it all around and mix up their facial features because, like, they're too dumb to live, you know? Absolutely voted for this.
Out. And I believe the reason they want him out is, remember, this is just the first agency he's taking a look at. He's combing through with the fine-tooth comb. Wait till we get to the other agencies. We're going to find out that there have been crimes committed. These are crimes. This is stealing our hard-earned money to put out on these ridiculous, outrageous programs overseas and here domestically as well.
Mm-hmm. Why isn't treason a thing anymore? When I was going over that article of that guy who was, like, receiving cars and gold bars from Egypt, they were saying, like, he was the first politician in a century to have any sort of, like, corruption charges. And it's like, that doesn't mean that there hasn't been a corrupt politician in the last century. That just means that the corruption is so deep and embedded that they all protect each other, and that's why nothing has happened thus far. Yeah, Senator Menendez, that was his name. Charges, yes, but that means the system is more corrupt than ever before. Yeah, absolutely. It's just like someone wanted him gone, and that's why his corruption charges are actually happening, you know? It's unfortunate for that guy. He didn't lick the right taint, you know? There's a Blue Sky post to someone named Matt Ortega, don't know who that is, from the r/leopards8myface subreddit, a Trump voter frantic that DOGE abandoned their daughter and her 2 kids overseas by cutting off PEPFAR with no way to get home and without resources. And we already know that this is a lie because they have 30 days to get fully paid on the way back. Chuck Schumer said if the Treasury Secretary does not remove DOGE's access to the Treasury payment systems at once, Congress must immediately act. This is why Rep. Jeffries and I will work together on legislation to stop unlawful meddling in the Treasury Department's payment systems. We must protect people's Social Security payments, Medicare payments, and tax refunds from any possible tampering by DOGE or other unauthorized entities. And someone said, chill out, Chucky, everything's gonna be all right. What I can't forget at the moment is DOGE has left my daughter, a single mom, of 2 young girls stranded in a foreign country. She has been a competent, loyal, and exceptional employee as PEPFAR coordinator in 3 countries. Not only fired, but abandoned with no resources. Donald Trump saying the USA is driving the radical left crazy, and there is nothing they can do about it because the way in which the money has been spent, so much of it is fraudulently, is totally unexplainable. The corruption is at levels rarely seen before. Close it down. And this person replied, FYI, I voted for you 3 times and I thought family meant something to you. DOGE has stranded my daughter, a PEPFAR coordinator, excelled over 7 years, 3 countries. Single mom abandoned with no government response to questions. This is outrageous. And again, Donald Trump had tweeted out, it looks like billions of dollars have been stolen at USAID and other agencies, much of it going to the fake news media as a payoff for creating good stories about the Democrats. The left-wing rag known as Politico seems to have received $8 million. Did the New York Times receive money? Who else did? This could be the biggest scandal of them all, perhaps the biggest in history. The Democrats can't hide from this one. Too big, too dirty. And this woman again responded, bring back our loved ones safely who have dedicated themselves to working abroad for the U.S., but now are fired and left to find a way home with no support and no one to help with a plan. Would you do this to your daughter and granddaughters, but okay for mine? Help with this insanity. Again, they have 30 days from Friday, so yesterday, to get fully paid trips back to the United States. Who is this person? I don't know. It was posted on Reddit. And that makes me go into, hold on, I gotta find it. I gotta find it. Kyle Becker, independent thinker, news analyst, author, freedom lover, past writer and producer for #1 cable news show, senior managing editor for top 5 news websites. I don't know who Kyle Becker is, but, got a lot of followers. Maybe knows what he's talking about. I don't know. U.S. taxpayers have been funding an obscure news agency called Internews Network for years. Internews is funded heavily by the U.S. government, primarily through USAID. There are 467 grants for Internews, totaling a whopping $476.4 million on the usaspending.gov website. These massive figures track with Internews, Form 990s, where it discloses tens of millions of dollars in government grants every year. What is Internews? The organization claims to be an international nonprofit that supports independent media in emerging democracies and uses media as a tool to reduce conflict. A government supporting independent media is obviously a contradiction in terms, so something else must be going on here. The National Endowment for Democracy, founded in 1983 by Ronald Reagan to promote democracy worldwide, but since hijacked by globalists and leftists, has also given significantly to Internews through its Center for International Media. NED was briefly defunded in 1993 by Republicans, NED being the National Endowment for Democracy. I know I struggle with acronyms, so I don't want to just slap you with it. But currently, its budget is estimated to be a massive $330 million a year. Trump had proposed slashing NED's funding in 2018. Internews is listed as a recipient of NED's contributions. For example, the NED's media initiatives through SEMA was at least $18.7 million in 2015, and Internews was one of the listed recipients. NED has been strongly associated with engineering colored revolutions around the globe, and by extension, so is Internews. They are both involved in nearly every hotspot on the planet: Venezuela, Kazakhstan, Myanmar, Cambodia, Afghanistan. The list goes on and on. Who used to sit on the board of directors for National Endowment for Democracy? None other than Victoria Nuland, who was the Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs from 2021 to 2024. Who ran USAID from 2021 to 2025, which funded Internews? Samantha Power. If you look at Internews Agency's board, you realize these are not your average journalists. Jean Bourgault has been leading Internews as president and CEO since 2019, according to its official website. She joined the organization in 2001 and has been instrumental in expanding its programs to over 100 countries, focusing on supporting local media and ensuring access to trustworthy, quote-unquote, information. Before her tenure at Internews, Bourgault worked with the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, including a 3-year assignment at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. Mira Selva currently serves as the chief executive for Europe at Internews. She previously directed the Journalist Fellowship Program at the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism, again from the website. Jody Ginsburg served as the chief executive of Internews Europe from 2019 until 2022. Prior to this role, she was the CEO of Index on Censorship, a London-based freedom of expression organization. Ginsburg began her career as a journalist with Reuters, the website notes. I like how Reuters keeps being brought up here when we know that Reuters also has heavy involvement with Bridge. And in addition to that, a London-based freedom of expression organization is highly hilarious, considering we know that the UK does not have freedom of speech. They have anything but. So I would not be surprised if this was, again, subversive language masquerading as something good. Get the picture? This is, of course, nothing new. The U.S. government's funding of media operations and so-called journalists across the world has a long history. During the mid-70s, in the aftermath of Watergate, 2 congressional investigations, the Church and Pike committees, after Senator Frank Church and Rep. Otis Pike uncovered covert U.S. government operations in foreign countries. They confirmed that the CIA funded journalists, both foreign and American, and the U.S. government was subsidizing foreign print media, radio, and television outlets, something the Soviets were also doing. The CIA also ran Project Mockingbird, a covert operation to influence and manipulate journalists and to disseminate propaganda and control public perception. Mockingbird mentioned, eh? Declassified documents and investigative reports suggest that the CIA has long engaged in media manipulation, particularly during the Cold War era. As former CIA Director William Colby once put it, the Central Intelligence Agency owns everything of significance in the major media. The CIA appears to have reorganized after having been exposed by the Church Committee in 1975. Those media manipulation operations seem to have been redirected through the State Department and USAID. It is high time for another Church Committee to expose the U.S. government's attack on free speech and independent media in the United States and throughout the world. And this is a open image and new tab situation. This is the usaspending.gov website, and you can see the Internews network recipients all over here with all the different years. Like 2011, 2019, 2022, 2012, 2020, 2017, 2016, like whole bunch of dates. The awarding agency is the Agency for International Development, so the USAID, as we have been speaking about. Internews launches the Media Viability Accelerator. This looks like all of the fucking Bridge article news briefs that I post, man. Like, got that same fucking look in the room. With support from USAID and Microsoft, new digital platform boosts the resilience of independent media worldwide. And while all the other content creators were making the rounds praising Microsoft for removing DEI initiatives, I was tweeting out about how Microsoft and Bridge had paired together at the US Cannes Lions Festival to further promote DEI. Microsoft was not getting rid of anything, and those content creators were incorrect. Today, Internews officially released the Media Viability Accelerator. This was today, September 26, 2024, to support local news outlets worldwide. The Media Viability Accelerator is a free web-based platform that enables independent news outlets globally to measure business success, benchmark their performance, and access an ecosystem of partners and solutions. It is designed to support independent media in becoming more financially sustainable. The MVA is made possible through a unique public-private partnership with the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and Microsoft's Democracy Forward initiative, as well as support and engagement from a growing list of partners. The ultimate goal of the MVA is to bolster media sustainability and resilience globally. Around the world, media business models have been upended by market fragmentation and rapid changes in how information is shared. Amid these obstacles, independent media is also challenged by rising authoritarianism, with many countries currently experiencing a decline in press freedom. Over the next 2 years, the MVA intends to counter these trends by bolstering over 2,000 media outlets and tens of thousands of journalists, reaching audiences of hundreds of millions of people. The platform will help to ensure citizens are informed and able to participate in vibrant democracies around the globe. Yeah, I'm sure it's a vibrant democracy and not another ploy to instill the globalist methodologies. And then here's another internews.org, nonprofit organization supporting independent media. Ambassador Victoria Newland, the National Endowment for Democracy, this is NED. Ambassador Victoria Newland is the Shelby Cullum Davis Professor in the Practice of International Diplomacy and Director of the International Fellows Program at Columbia University's School of International and Public Affairs. She is also affiliated with SIPA's Institute for Global Politics. She previously served on the NED Board of Directors from 2018 to 2021. A U.S. diplomat for 35 years, Newland served 6 U.S. presidents and 10 secretaries of state of both political parties and holds the rank of career ambassador. She was acting Deputy Secretary of State from July 2023 until March 2024 and served concurrently as Undersecretary for Political Affairs. Her tenure as Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs began in April 2021. I hate government speak, man. Prior to that, Newland was senior counselor at the Albright Stonebridge Group, a global strategic advisory and commercial diplomacy firm based in Washington, D.C. She was also a non-resident senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, distinguished practitioner in grand strategy at Yale University. A career member of the U.S. Foreign Service, Newland served as Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs from September 2013 until January 2017 under President Obama and Secretary Kerry. She was State Department spokesperson during Secretary Hillary Clinton's tenure and U.S. Ambassador to NATO during President George W. Bush's second term. Nuland served as special envoy and chief negotiator on the Treaty of Conventional Arms Control in Europe, and as deputy national secretary advisor to Vice President Cheney from 2003 to 2005. In addition to 2 tours at NATO in Brussels, she had served overseas in Russia, China, and Mongolia, and in various assignments at the State Department in Washington. Nuland has a bachelor's in history from Brown University. This is a very embedded acolyte we seem to have here. That is a crazy long career of doing absolutely nothing good. Internews Form 990s that he posted here. And then a little bit more I have. Anna Solner, a director at Internews Network, also serves as the vice president of communications at Reddit. This is the Internews Network showing all the people in here. We have Anna Solner listed as a director. $0 compensation is an interesting little number here. A little interesting thing. Internews took her profile down, but the internet remembers. Anna Solner, head of communication, Reddit, board member. Anna Solner leads communications for Reddit, the home of conversation online. Previously, she was vice president for corporate communications at the Motion Picture Association of America, where she worked on major news events like the Sony hack, gun violence in media, and First Amendment issues. She also led communications at the Center for American Progress, the progressive think tank. Anna was among the first employees at CAP, building to an organization of over 250. Anna was a Lucy Scholar in Hong Kong and worked for Martin Lee, a leader of the pro-democracy movement there. In 2016, she founded a GOTV effort called My Ride to Vote, which funded ride sharing to the polls for underrepresented communities. She's on the board of Internews, an NGO that develops independent media around the world, and was a founding member of Conservation International. So it appears that Reddit might be a government psyop. We joked about it for years, but it seems like that might actually be the reality here. Reddit might be a governmental propaganda arm. Holy globo homo. Oh hell, we thought people on Reddit were retards, but goddamn, they're eating that government slop more than we knew. The biography mentions she led an initiative, Generation Conservation, associated with Conservation International. Conservation International is another heavy recipient of USAID funds. This is Conservation International Foundation, locale Peru, ends August 31st, 2027, amount $13,989,164. To create a cutting-edge economic development alliance committed to business conservation enterprises in Peru. And another one down here in Mexico for $6,685,711 for sustainable landscape ventures. They're gonna renovate all of the mass burial grounds from the cartel murders. What the hell do these words mean? Government slop! Suddenly everything makes sense, said Reddit Lies. You've always had a poor opinion of Reddit. It's nice that when you dislike something and you think that it is incredibly, like, hug-boxy, echo-chambery, especially when they were removing all of the, like, Trump subreddits, all of the gender-critical subreddits. They were removing anything that was, like, right of center for, like, fucking hateful wrongthink. It's nice to know that not just hating them for being biased, but for actually being unironic controlled opposition. Mario Newful over here, largest show on X, founder of IBC Groupio. I don't know what that is. Dude's got 2 million followers. Exposed USAID funded media CEO caught pushing censorship. A California filing links Jean Bourgault, that lady that we read about a couple of tweets ago, CEO of government-funded Internews, to a 7th Street Arcata address, raising questions about her ties and influence. At the World Economic Forum 2024, Bourgault called for exclusion lists to pressure advertisers into funding only approved news sources, a move designed to silence dissent and control narratives. Internews received almost $500 million from USAID, raising concerns about state-backed censorship disguised as fighting disinformation. Oh, it's almost like that's exactly what YouTube and Facebook and Twitter all did, too. Oh, wow, that's such a surprise. I'm so shocked. Who decides what news is good? The answer is clear now. The source is WikiLeaks here. We have the Internews network. This recipient is associated with multiple other parents. Total award amount, $472.6 million from 457 transactions. And then we have the biography here of Jean Bourgault. Jean Bourgault, I don't know about pronouncing things, the fucking Boston debuff, dude. Jean Bourgault is president and CEO of Internews, an international nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering local media worldwide. Bourgault is an expert on the role of information and media in developing, conflict, and post-conflict and fragile countries. She speaks on issues of global news, information technology, media development, and democracy assistance worldwide. Bourgault leads the strategic management of Internews and its programs, now active in more than 50 countries. She's overseen Internews' growth in areas underserved by local media. There's that fucking underserved word again. Such as Afghanistan and South Sudan. And under her leadership, Internews has led the sector in focusing on the need for information amid crisis, working to support local news and information access for communities affected by disaster, including the 2005 Asian tsunami, 2010 Haiti earthquake, and Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. Bourgault previously served as Internews' chief operating officer. She joined Internews in 2001 as vice president for programs, and prior to Internews, Bourgault worked internationally in countries undergoing dramatic shifts in media and political landscapes. It's kind of interesting that she worked specifically in countries who were experiencing dramatic shifts. Bourgault worked in the former Yugoslavia, serving as a strategic advisor for media development programs in post-war Kosovo, as well as manager of community development projects in Serbia and Montenegro, through the fall of the Slobodan Milosevic. She served for 6 years with the U.S. Agency for International Development, including 3 years at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. Bourgault has consulted an international program design and evaluation for the Open Society Institute, the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, the Ford Foundation, Research Triangle Institute, and the United Nations Center for Human Rights, among others. Speaking engagements have included the Skoll World Forum, Guardian Activate in New York, the Social Capital Markets Conference in San Francisco, and the World Economic Forum, where she also serves on the Digital Media Steering Committee. Bridge has a steering committee to sort of keep pushing forward their ideologies. I wonder what happens on the World Economic Forum's steering committee. Bourgault speaks rusty Russian and holds a Master of Arts in International Studies and a Master in Public Affairs from the University of Washington. It's all connected. It is all connected, man. A fucking World Economic Forum mentioned, dude. USAID is a CIA front that used $5 billion in 2014 to ignite a color revolution in Ukraine. Victoria Nuland picked the new government a month before the old government was overthrown. This looks to be a Tucker Carlson interview with RFK Jr.
There are riots, and it's called the Meltdown Rebellion in Ukraine, which we're not told that we are financing those riots. The newspapers never told us, our government never told us. USAID, which is a CIA front, put $5 billion into funding those riots. Those riots lead to to a coup d'etat against the first democratically elected government of the Ukraine. It was a government that refused to choose sides and to say we're going to be on the side of the West. So we wanted them out. A month before that government is overthrown, Victoria Nuland, who's the part of the centerpiece of the neocon ideology and who is now a high-level official in the State Department, has a secret call with the U.S. ambassador, which is tape recorded and is now public, which anybody can go and look up, where she is picking the new cabinet for the Ukraine, which is which is a U.S. Western cabinet. So they're picking the new government a month before the old government is overthrown.
Is that how democracy? Is that democracy when Victoria Nuland picks her government?
Well, that's the point.
It's democracy in the same way that J.K. Rowling decides if you're gay or not. That's just how the world works now.
USAID doesn't really do, and the CIA don't do democracy. The CIA has overthrown, I think, 83 governments between 1947 and 1997. That's a third of the governments on Earth, and most of them were democracies. It doesn't do democracy.
And so, like, what needs to happen is that all of these people involved need to see, like, actual charges for this stuff, right? Like, all of this corruption, all of this money laundering, all of this meddling in other countries. The United States of America World Police was far more deeply entrenched than any of us could have ever imagined. And it's like, Trump only has 4 years, dude. I don't know if it's even possible to, like, root out all of these people and actually manage to press charges against them, because this is like going up against the massive machine that has been doing this shit for decades. And it's like chipping away at it obviously makes progress, and I'm not like trying to doom pill here. I'm not like trying to black pill or anything, but it's just like, if all of these people were protecting each other for decades, if they managed to do this like I don't want to say burdened, but yeah, like I guess unburdened, like, you know, unnoticed for so long. Like, how do you start, like, making arrests and bringing charges, especially if you know the justice system is just going to dismiss everything? Unimpeded, yeah, that's a good one. Unimpeded, unobstructed. Yeah, thank you, chat. My brain is soupy. My brain's being soupy. Thank you for the assist. Just like, I definitely want to see things like repercussions for these people. I don't want it to simply just be destroyed and the corruption removed. The people who were part of the corruption need to have repercussions, because if there's no repercussions, what's stopping any of them from rebuilding it? What's stopping anyone from starting it again? Unhindered. Vance still has to prove himself to you? You don't think his fire burns as bright because he hasn't been through the fire Trump went through? Do I have the tab open? I don't think I do. I thought I had the tab open with, like, Vance's response about the kid. Oh god, binary mind. Binary mind, you're fucking, how did you know I was about to ask for that? This dude sent me the link before I even finished my fucking question, and he's on a stream delay. That's crazy. My mods are on the same brainwave length. Soon enough, I'm not even gonna have to ask for anything. So this fucking guy, Ro Khanna, pro-American, fucking text me. I don't know who he is. But JD Vance saying, here's my view. I obviously disagree with some of Elez's posts, but I don't think stupid social media activity should ruin a kid's life. We shouldn't reward journalists who try to destroy people, ever. And that's true, and not just journalists.
We need to apply cultural pressure, go into fandoms that you love, make culture with our ideals in a creative way and cut them down at the roots.
Not just journalists, but any one of these kinds of people. Like any kind of feminist or transgender activist or a fucking journalist online, developers who try to do this, people like Sweet Baby Inc., anyone who tries to use like intimidation tactics and lies and like old shit to ruin people's lives. None of them should be taken seriously. None of them should be rewarded. They do this because it's a power trip and they want to feel that power over people they disagree with. None of them should get that satisfaction. And we have been giving into that with cancel culture for so fucking long. That's another thing I've been railing against in regards to Off-Kai specifically. They shouldn't be requiring things like COVID vaccinations for the maid cafe. They shouldn't be excluding people like me because I make edgy jokes or I have a different political opinion. I wasn't going to be doing political things at a VTuber convention because that's not what it's fucking for. And they had political booths. They had identity politics booths. So it's not like they were getting rid of people who were doing politics.
Yes,
they were just getting rid of people they disagreed with. Which is like, you shouldn't ever reward these kinds of people playing these kinds of games because it will only spiral out of control. And no one will survive the purity spiral. And then Ro Khanna responded to Vance. No, I don't think I finished it. I say bring him back. If he's a bad dude or terrible member of the team, fire him for that. And yes, absolutely. This is what merit-based is for. You don't fire people for their opinions or for their edgy jokes or for like shit posting they do on social media. You fire them because they're bad at their job. That is the reason you fire them. Or I guess if they murder someone, you know, like something actually reprehensible in real life, you know? And Ro Khanna said, are you going to tell him to apologize for saying normalize Indian hate before this rehire? Just asking for the sake of both our kids. And this kind of emotional manipulation should only be derided. This person is not a serious person and he should not be taken seriously. And JD Vance has the perfect response. For the sake of both our kids, grow up. Racist trolls on the internet, while offensive, don't threaten my kids. You know what does? A culture that denies grace to people who make mistakes. A culture that encourages congressmen to act like whiny children. I cannot overstate how much I loathe this emotional blackmail pretending to be concerned. And that's exactly what it is. Ro Khanna is not posting this out of concern. He's posting emotionally manipulative words in order to be smug at people he feels are inferior to him. That is all these people do. JD Vance continues, my kids, God willing, will be risk takers. They won't think constantly about whether a flippant comment or a wrong viewpoint will follow them around for the rest of their lives. They will tell stupid jokes. They will develop views that they later think are wrong or even gross. I made mistakes as a kid, and thank God I grew up in a culture that encouraged me to grow and learn and feel remorse when I screwed up and offered grace when others did. JD Vance continues, I don't worry about my kids making mistakes or developing views they later regret. I don't even worry that much about trolls on the internet. You know what I do worry about, Ro? That they'll grow up to be a US congressman who engages in emotional blackmail over a kid's social media posts. You disgust me. And that is the absolute correct response to these kinds of fucking people. They are disgusting weasels trying to exploit your values in order to do their bidding. Do not let them manipulate you, and do not let them get away with it for any longer than they already have. Mike Benz quote retweeted the USAID funded media CEO thing pushing censorship. He said, I want you to listen to me very closely. When the CEO of USAID's Internews pressured advertisers to create exclusion lists to only fund approved news sources, she was carrying out USAID's formal policy goal to have USAID partners do advertiser outreach to redirect funding. At the World Economic Forum 2024, Bourgeois called for exclusion lists to pressure advertisers into funding only approved news sources, a move designed to silence dissent and control narratives. Advertiser outreach, it says, in order to disrupt the funding and financial incentive to disinform, attention has also turned to the advertising industry, particularly with online advertising. A good example of this is the concerted response to the discovery of the websites traced to the village of Velez outside of Skopje, Macedonia, which showed how easy it was to exploit the digital advertising model to flood the news ecosystem with fabricated content. Wired magazine profiled the Velez case study in 2017. As most online advertisers are unaware of the disinformation risk of the domains featuring their ads due to the automated process of ad placement, they inadvertently are funding and amplifying platforms that disinform. Thus, cutting this financial support found in the ad tech space would obstruct disinformation actors from spreading messaging online. Efforts have been made to inform advertisers of their risks, such as the threat to brand safety, by being placed next to objectionable content. Through conducting research and assessments of online media content. Additionally, with this data, organizations hope to aim to redirect funding to higher quality news domains, improve regulatory and market environments, and support innovative and sustainable models for increasing revenues and reach. A few examples of advertiser outreach are included in Annex 3, Emerging Solutions. And then there was a response here. It says, remember in 2016 when a reporter in Haiti said, where is the money Hillary Clinton raised with the Clinton Foundation? Haiti didn't even get 2%. Where did the money go? USAID funded the Clinton Foundation and also to her daughter, Chelsea Clinton. And I vaguely remember news stories about how Chelsea Clinton had her wedding funded by the Clinton Foundation funds that were supposed to go to Haiti. I very vaguely remember that news story. So I don't remember much more than that.
In 2010, the earthquake of Haiti, not only American taxpayers, but the whole world has given billions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation for the Haitians. Not even 2% of that money went back to Haiti. So, Mr. Trump, we are asking you, begging you, the Haitian community will side with you if one day you ask Hillary Clinton publicly to disclose the audit of all the money they have stolen from Haiti in 2010 after the earthquake.
Oh.
Haiti is a very poor
He was
country.
there.
Haiti needs defense.
The original Where's the Money?
We will champion our cause. We welcome
It all
you,
comes
sir,
full circle.
and we will work with you. But please,
Sorry, force of habit. Where's the money, Hillary?
Hillary Clinton, during your next debate, to publish the audit of all the money they have stolen from Haiti. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, saying it's stolen from Haiti is a little weird since it's American taxpayer funds, but like, yeah, it was still stolen. It was still stolen.